For week 5 for web design, and I think I did this in week 4 also. I'm using a different recorder, so I don't have the regular screen up that I normally use, but I'll go ahead and look at the week 5 work here in the announcement, so then you'll get an idea of what you're supposed to do. So a little bit of a different view, but I think it should work out fine for you. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, go ahead and click on week 5. And you'll see in week 5, we're moving into what's called the WYSIWYG editor. Now, one thing I've done in the course, if I scroll over here on the left, I switched around week 5 work, the WYSIWYG editor, and the copyright law, which used to be week 5, but now that's week 6. I just switched those two around. You don't need to worry about any of that. All you need to do is to go in the announcements to the week 5 announcement right here, and that'll take you to the work that you need to do for week 5. And the reason I did this is I want you to learn how to use the WYSIWYG editor to create web pages, and then from here on out for week 5, week 6, week 7, and week 8 you'll use this editor rather than doing coding. So that's why we're doing it. So it's no big issue for you. You just go right into week 5 and do week 5 work. Just know that week 5 work it's going to be in this called Unit 4. And then week 6 work is going to be in Unit 3, but don't worry about any of that. So this is the work we're going to do. We're going to look at WYSIWYG editor, so different type of web page creator. And of course, as always, I've broken all the work down. So you have what could be called your Tuesday work, what could be called your Thursday work. But obviously you can see you'll get all the way through the unit. In the assignments you have a font attribute assignment, a text assignment, and a table assignment for Tuesday. Then you have a graphics assignment and navigation bar for Thursday. And as I always say, you can do this stuff anytime you want, but I just kind of break it down for you this way to the days, so you can maybe schedule your work a little bit better for yourself. Whatever works for you is fine. So, WYSIWYG editor. So let's jump in there. So here we are. And this is a different way to create a web page. We used coding before, but now we're going to be using some software, and some of you might be familiar with this. So as I scroll down, you'll see that WYSIWYG, what it stands for, it's an acronym for what you see is what you get, pronounced WYSIWYG. And what it does is it displays the text and graphics on a screen just like they would display on a web page. So that's how they're different from coding. In coding, obviously, you create the code and then it creates a web page. But here, whatever you create on the screen is how the web page is going to look in general. But before we get any further, obviously we want to look at the Class Connect write-up, so I'll click on Week 5 Class Connect write-up. So what does WYSIWYG stand for, and how is it to a web? Let's see. I need to fix that. And how is it a way to design web pages? Well, the way it is to design web pages is that it gives you the text and graphics the exact way that they will appear on the web page. So I talked about all that. Okay, the next question, what WYSIWYG software will we download? So let's go back to, whoops, do that. Back to our introduction, so we'll get to that question in a minute. So there are lots of WYSIWYG editors available. We're going to be using the one called NVU. So it's the word for it right there, or you could call it NView, whatever you call it. I just call it NVU. So that's what we're going to use. And you can see the things we'll learn in this unit. CSS, you've seen of CSS before. You did it with coding previously. Make tables, edit tables, add graphics, etc. So a lot of work to do in this unit. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to download NVU. So when you click right here, this will take you to the steps to download it. Just follow through those steps, and here's a video that'll show you how to do it. But follow these steps. Now your computer obviously may be set up a little bit differently from what this video shows. Bottom line is you just want to get the newest version of NVU downloaded on your computer and get it to where it runs. That's all what you need to do. However you can do that is fine with me. So it doesn't matter how you do it, just as long as you get it done. Okay, Section 1, Part B. So now you're going to start using NVU. Let's go back to the Class Connect write-up to see what questions we have. Have you downloaded NVU? So I ask you that, so yes or no. And if you haven't, then go ahead and do it. Okay, now we're going to move into the actual works. So once you create a CSS styles, what do you have to do to make them part of your web page? So when you get into NVU, when you start it up, and I'll go see if I can open it up here. So here's NVU. I have it downloaded. You can see this is a blank one, so you'll end up with NVU just like this, just like what I have on my screen. So anyway, in NVU, what you're going to be doing is creating styles, CSS. So the steps that you go through to do this is CSS definitions. And this whole assignment that you do throughout this whole project, whole unit, it's going to be an autobiography about you. You can see that you're going to have actually end up with 6 pages altogether. But these will be your specific ones that you'll have information, and on each of these 5 pages you'll have a picture of yourself on each of those 5 pages and information about yourself on each of those 5 pages. Then your 6th page is the index page for all of this, but you'll do that later on. So anyway, you're going to be setting up CSS. This video will show you how to set up CSS in NVU. So watch the video, follow the directions, and here are the directions right down here. So you'll open NVU, you'll click on Tools, CSS Editor, uncheck the Expert mode. So here are the written directions, and this little video shows you the directions. And there's even all the information down here. So make sure you go through this the right way, and you'll get it all done exactly right. It'll work perfectly for you. So please follow all of the directions. So you'll create the CSS, the different types of CSS for this. And as you create it, that video just showed you how to do the title CSS, but you're going to want to make 4 CSS. So a title one, a paragraph one, a photo captions one, and a citations one. So you'll end up having 4 CSS attributes. So this is first part of the assignment. So you make these CSS attributes. Hey, when that times out. So you make those CSS attributes by following those directions on the video previously. And then once you make all those attributes, then you have to export it. So you create it, then you export it, and that makes it external. So you have to export it. If I go back to the Class Connect write-up, you'll see a question. Once you create the CSS, what do you have to do to make them part of your web page? Well, I just said you have to export it, right? So make sure you do that. So you follow this video, and also they have the steps down here of how to export it. And what you do is you export it into a file called mystyles.css. Now when you save these things, make sure you type in the .css, and you do all of that. And look at your file before you submit it, the CSS file. Make sure it has CSS in it just one time. So you'll create this My Styles, and you'll submit that, because what that does is that allows me to see that you have your styles created properly before you move on with the assignment. So follow all these directions and turn in this style sheet, and you're going to name it My Styles. It's important that you name it the right name because you have to refer to that name later on. And that's what's called the style sheet for CSS. Now, as you're working in NVU, what's really nice is you can have 4 different views. So you can see in NVU there's a normal, HTML tags, a source, and a preview. All these views are at the bottom of the screen of NVU. So those are the 4 different ones. So normal is going to be what you see is what you get. So you can see exactly what your web page would look like. In the HTML tags one, you can see all the tags you have in your HTML page. Then you have the source one, and this is nice because this is just like Notepad, isn't it? And here you can go in and you can like change the colors and different things like that, just like you did with Notepad, real easily. Then finally there's the preview of what your page might look like. And of course, as we do all this work, the normal one is the one we'll use most often. So if I go back to the Class Connect write-up, it says list the 4 views, so I just showed you that. Which will you use most often? Normal view you'll use most often, right? So there's a little practice quiz. You can go through that to see what you've learned so far. And moving on. Now attaching CSS. So you're going to open all the 6 pages that you have, or you're going to actually create them here. So do just what this says. So you launch NVU, choose File, New, choose all these options, a blank document, create in a new tab, and hit Create. So follow these directions exactly. And you'll see what you will create. Within NVU, you'll end up creating these 6 pages. Do it exactly as they tell you. So one page you'll save as index.html. The second page as baby.html. Save them exactly the right way. And all of this will work out fine if you do it the right way. And then as you go in, as you do this, then you're going to apply the My Styles document that you created earlier. You're going to apply that to all of your pages. So you're going to open up your index page. And of course all this stuff is saved in your, I believe it's Unit 4 folder. So you create the index page, and then you'll do Tools, CSS Editor, Expert Mode, Link ELT. You make all of those selections, just what it says here. So everything's in the Unit 4 folder, right? Then you'll find your My Styles CSS, you'll choose that, and then you'll create styles. So you do all of these for all 6 of these pages. So what this is doing is it's taking the style that you created as the My Styles and is putting that on each of those pages. So just follow these directions and it'll work out great for you. Now that last Class Connect write-up question was, what are the 6 pages you're having for your autobiography? Well, these are the exact names of the 6 pages for your autobiography work. Let's go to the Class Connect write-up. The exact full names of the 6 pages, I just showed you that. Okay, Section 2, Part C, what are the dimensions of the tables? We haven't gotten there yet. So this is the autobiography text assignment. So you're going to open up your index page, that index.html page. Apply the CSS for the title. Write an introductory paragraph about yourself and apply the CSS for the paragraph. Then you're going to add other information for your other 5 pages and apply the CSS. Then save everything in the Unit 4 folder, and then you zip the Unit 4 folder and you submit it. So this one, you're putting in your autobiography text in all of your pages. Of course, as you know, I hope, autobiography is a story about yourself, about your life. So you create all those pages, and once you create the pages with the text and all of that, then you're going to start organizing the page by putting it in tables. Now watch this video, and it's going to show you how to make a table. And here are all the steps to make a table. So follow those steps exactly. So there are all the steps to making a table right there. Now this doesn't tell you how many you need, it just tells you how to do it. It doesn't tell you the dimensions of the table. But now if we go to the next one, you'll actually pull up your old files and you'll start creating the table for your autobiography assignment. And this just talks about the source view, and we learned a couple ways to do colors before, but with the hexadecimal or the name of the color, but you can also use what's called RGB, red, green, blue. And you can change the colors and the coding that way. So you might mess with that a little bit. Okay, now you're getting back to your assignment. So what you do, you have the text of your autobiography that you've done on all 6 pages. And the first thing you're going to have you do is open up the index.html page. And then you're going to make the table in that index.html page. So if you look at this table on your index.html page, let's look at it and count it. So right here, there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows, 7 rows, 8 rows, and columns. This is one column right here, a narrow column, and this is a second column over here. That's a narrow column. So this is 8 rows, 2 columns table. And you'll create this size table. So set up a table on your index page. Cut and paste the text from your index page into the right places, so your table will look like this. Repeat for each of the other tables, other pages in your folder. So that's going to be your index table, and then you're going to have, like, this might be your birth table, your birth page, then you're going to have your preschool page and all of that. So that's how you will do this work. So I hope you can see what this ultimately will look like. Now the one thing about this, like this line right up here where it says Pam Smith's autobiography, that's a way you can combine column 1 and column 2 and make them into like one cell. You just highlight straight across, then right click, and then NVU will let you turn it into one cell. I believe that's the steps. So we want your tables to look exactly like this on all 6 of your pages. So if I go back to the Class Connect write-up, it says Section 2, Part C, what are the dimensions of your table? Well, as I said, it's going to be 8 rows, because we counted these rows, didn't we? Counted those 8 rows and 2 columns. There's 1 column here and 1 column here. So 8 rows going across and then 2 columns. Okay, moving along. Now we're going to look at graphics. Let's go back to the Class Connect write-up and see what other next questions we have. In what exact folder will you save all of your images? Now as far as the graphics, when you start doing the work for this assignment, let's go over here and it says save your photos in Unit 4/images. So you're going to create in Unit 4 folder, you're going to create a folder called images. And that's where you'll put all of your pictures. So this is the exact folder where you will put all of your pictures. Now some of you may not have little kid pictures, when you're a child, that are digitized. So what you can do is you can scan them, you can take a picture of them with your phone and turn them into an image. There are some things you can do with that. If you don't have it, then go find a picture that might represent you as a child. Maybe it's a map of the town you lived in or something like that. But if you don't have personal pictures, you can substitute some pictures. Maybe when you were like in elementary school, you had a favorite dog or something, where you could put a picture of a dog or something on your page. But every one of your pages needs to have an image in it. But make sure it's related to whether it's your infant page or your teen page or whatever. Make sure the pictures are related. So this is all about adding graphics. And it tells you open up your index page, click in the large empty cell. So if we go back one page, So right here, if you're working on this page, this is the large empty cell they're talking about right in here. And then you go through the steps that they tell you to put the image in. So this tells you exactly how to put the image in. And you must, this is most important, you must choose URL as relative to page location. URL is relative to page location. You have to put that, you click that, then you hit choose file and you go find the picture in your Unit 4 images folder, because that's the only way that the picture will travel along with the web page so I can see them. So you have to make sure you choose that part. So you put your pictures in each of those pages, put borders around your pictures, do all that work. Now you can add captions too. So once you put your picture in, you can click to the right side of it, like you can see the little cursor down here. Click to the right side of the picture and hit enter, and then it gives you space down below and you can put a caption under it. And then this also talks about citing your pictures. You know, like if your picture is taken from a photo studio or something, you don't really need to worry too much about that. Let's go back to the Class Connect write-up. Exact folder, we talked about that. Okay, now we're going to talk about thumbnail images. Okay, so you're putting your pictures in. And now you're going to do some thumbnail images. And thumbnail images, what you're going to do is put pictures on your index page that are thumbnails that will click and become larger. Now what a thumbnail image is a small size, like the size of a person's thumbnail, or a little bit bigger, but it's tiny. But it's a small size image that when you click on it, it opens up a bigger picture. So like these pictures of the two girls right here, if I click on that, you'll see that it opens up in a bigger picture. That's called a thumbnail. So again, a thumbnail is a small size image that when you click on it, it opens up the image in a bigger size. And the way you can tell your thumbnail images from your regular images, because remember, all of your pictures will be in your images folder that is in the Unit 4 folder. And what they suggest you do when you make your thumbnail image, when you squish your picture down to a small size, when you save it, like in this one, they took the picture that was called pam1.jpg, and when they saved it smaller as a thumbnail, they called it pam1th.jpg. That way you know it's a thumbnail. So isn't that a clever way to save thumbnail images so you know they're different from regular images? You just change the name of them a little bit. And now once you do the thumbnails, then you're going to link to them, and of course this is all done in your index page. So you'll go to where the link is. So you click on the picture and then you say that you want to link to something. You tell it what picture you want to link to, URL is relative to page location, etc. So you just follow those directions to make those links happen. So those thumbnail images are going to be linked to bigger images. So that tells you all about the image work you're going to do. So you're going to add at least one photo to each page of your autobiography. You're going to do a thumbnail for 3 photos on one page. So what I would suggest is that you use your index page and put 3 thumbnails on your index page. It makes it a lot easier. You'll just end up putting maybe a little table, a 3-column, 1-row table, and has 3 pictures in it. So you'll arrange the thumbnails, link the thumbnails to a larger picture, so then when someone clicks on the thumbnail, then the bigger picture opens up, add a caption, do all that. Then you'll zip your Unit 4 folder and you submit it. So you can see how all of this stuff works together. You'll have all 6 of these pages as part of your autobiography website, and everything fits together. All these assignments go one after another. Now this talks about adding some background graphics, so if you want to get a little bit fancy, you can do that. You can use a program called GIMP if you want to do it. and that will let you do some background graphics if you want to put background graphics in your tables and things like that. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, this says use background graphics, background colors. I'm not going to grade you on that. If you want to do it, you're welcome to do it, give it a shot, but I'm not going to that's not an important part of this assignment. So finally, as we move along to the last part of this assignment, now navigation, of course, that's how you move about in a web page. So what you're going to do, if you remember when you created your 6 web pages, all of them were the same. They had birth, preschool, elementary, preteen, today. So those are your 5 pages, and then you had, of course, your main index page. So they had all of these things listed, but they didn't link to anything. So now you're going to create what's called a nav bar, navigation bar. So as this says right here, open your HTML index.html. Then you want to make these words over here link to your other pages. So what you would do is highlight the first word. So you'd open up your index.html, you'd highlight the word birth. And then I think at the top of the screen, you'll see the word link. So you click the word link, then the link window will pop up, and then you go choose the file. So you navigate to your birth.html page, and then you click OK. So then the word birth will link right to that birth page. Then the words preschool will link right to the name of your preschool page. Elementary school will link right to your elementary school page. So that's how you do all of that. So we create those links. And if you want to do the page colors and backgrounds and make some changes, you're welcome to do it. I'm not going to grade you on that or require it. You can also use buttons if you want. If you do choose to use buttons, you'll get some extra credit. But buttons are a little bit of a challenge. You have to save them a certain way. In fact, one thing I've noticed is the buttons, you might have to save as .png files. But if you do the buttons, then you'll put them in your Unit 4 images folder, and then your buttons will end up being what people will click on. That, if you want to do it, that's fine. If not, don't worry about it. Buttons are an option. Most people just like using the text links. So now the navigation bar. Now this says add buttons. Again, don't worry about adding buttons. You can just have text links. So you're going to make the links from each of your pages to all the other pages. So I should be able to navigate when you get your page working. I should be able to navigate from all of your pages and get to every other page easily and go back and forth. So once you do all the navigation and make sure everything clicks, so what you want to do is you'll make sure it all clicks, then once it all works, then you zip your Unit 4 folder and you submit it. Now one thing about making sure your stuff works, the biggest issue that people have is that they do not link to the images or the pages properly, and mostly it's the images. But it looks like it works on your own machine. In reality, it may not. So what I recommend you do is that once you create your page, then email it to yourself and open it up on another computer. That way you will know exactly if it works or not. And it's hard to explain, but lots of times things can work on your own computer because the way you link to pictures and pages and things. But then when you actually send it out to somebody else, they can't. The links don't work, or the images don't work because you haven't linked properly. So, if I was testing it, and here's what I do usually, I would save my Unit 4 folder. I would save it onto a thumb drive, like a USB drive. Then I'd take that USB drive, put it in another machine, and see if my page works. That's how you will be sure it all works. So, that's all the work. And let's go back to the Class Connect write-up, see if we answered the last couple of questions. What is thumbnail image? Why would you use it on a web page? Talked about that. How can you name your thumbnail images so they're different from your full-sized images? I told you that, right? You put TH at the end of them so you know that they are different. So that's all of this work. So now I'm going to go back to the course home and go to week 5 and just cover all this. So again, there are a bunch of assignments. So there's the CSS that you turn in, and that's the one that's called mystyles.css that you first set up. Then your autobiography text assignment. That's where you just start typing text in on each of your 6 pages, and you submit that. Then you create the table, so it's the table assignment. Then you put your pictures in. Remember that part? We went through that. And that's another assignment. Then finally there's the navigation bar assignment at the end. That's the culminating activity. So there's a lot of work for this week, but all of it works together. Get this thing done right, then you move on and you do this. Get this done right, then you move on to do this. So if I were you, I mean, you can turn them all in at the same time, but ideally you'd want to make sure this one works right, get a good grade on it, then move on to the next one. And I'll try to grade things, as quickly as possible for you over the course of the week. So that's all the work for this, and I guarantee that it will all work out great if you follow directions exactly. And in here I showed you they have video that'll show you how to do the work, plus they have the words telling you how to do it and screenshots telling you how to do it. So you should be able to get through this work fairly easily, but just pay attention to directions and it'll all work out very, very well. And remember, it'll all get saved in a Unit 4 folder with the exact right names you're supposed to use, and all of your pictures go in a folder called Images in the Unit 4 folder. So save everything with the exact right names and link everything correctly. It'll all come out fine for you. Okay, that's all I have for you. Good luck doing the week 5 work as we're starting to look at WYSIWYG editing. Talk to you soon. Bye.